The massive alien ships hung in Earth's orbit like silent predators, their metallic surfaces reflecting the soft blue of the planet below. Inside the Korean Space Research Center, Captain Jae-hwa Park studied the holographic displays with a calm that betrayed nothing of the tension building around him. The Kraltor invasion fleet had arrived without warning. Their scout ships moved with a precision that suggested absolute confidence. Captain Park knew they believed humans were nothing more than primitive creatures waiting to be conquered. Nearby, Dr. Yoon Seo Kim adjusted her communication systems, her fingers moving quickly across holographic interfaces. She had been tracking the alien ships for hours, documenting every minute movement, every subtle shift in their formation. "They're not even trying to hide," Sergeant Hyun-woo Lee muttered, his hand resting near his communication device. The military command center buzzed with a strange mix of fear and anticipation. The first attack came suddenly. Plasma-like energy beams erupted from the alien ships, targeting military installations across the Pacific Rim. Seoul's outer defense systems flickered momentarily, then stabilized. The human response seemed chaotic. Scattered missile launches, emergency broadcasts, and rapid military mobilization. To the Kraltor commanders watching from their mothership, it looked like typical panic. They had conquered hundreds of civilizations, and humans would be no different. Their advanced sensors showed primitive weapons, disorganized defense systems, and what appeared to be a completely overwhelmed planetary defense. Captain Park watched as the first wave of alien attack drones approached. They moved in perfect geometric patterns, each drone synchronized with mathematical precision. To an untrained eye, it would seem like an unstoppable machine of war. But Park saw something else: predictability. "They're using standard invasion protocols," he said quietly to Dr. Kim. "Systematic, predictable." The first human counterattack was nothing like the Kraltor expected. Instead of massive military responses, small teams of specialized units began implementing unconventional tactics. Electronic warfare units began sending complex signal disruptions. Satellite networks redirected and scrambled, creating visual and communication noise that confused the alien tracking systems. Sergeant Lee's Special Operations Team was already in motion. They had been preparing for this moment, studying captured alien technology fragments from previous near encounters. Their equipment was a mix of standard military gear and experimental tech that looked more like scientific instruments than weapons. The Kraltor ships continued their assault, believing each moment brought them closer to total planetary submission. Their commanders reviewed tactical displays showing what they interpreted as human weakness: scattered defenses, apparent lack of centralized control, multiple independent response units. What they didn't realize was that this apparent chaos was actually a carefully designed strategy. Each seemingly random response was part of a larger, more complex defense mechanism. Dr. Kim's team had been working for years on adaptive defense technologies, systems that could learn, modify, and respond to threats in milliseconds. The alien invasion was providing the ultimate testing ground. "Initiate secondary communication protocol," Captain Park said calmly into his communication device. Across the planet, seemingly unconnected defense systems began to synchronize. Satellite networks shifted, creating invisible protective layers. Communication channels that looked broken to alien sensors were actually complex encryption networks passing critical information. The Kraltor fleet continued its assault, believing each moment brought them closer to victory. Their weapons were technologically superior, their ships faster and more powerful than anything humans had developed. But humans had something the Kraltor never expected: adaptability. As the first day of invasion concluded, the alien commanders would review their initial assault reports. They would see what appeared to be a successful first strike: damaged installations, scattered human defenses, and what looked like a planet on the brink of total surrender. They were wrong. Deep in underground research facilities, in military command centers, and in laboratories around the world, humans were already analyzing, learning, and preparing their response. The real war was just beginning. Captain Park looked at the holographic display, a slight smile crossing his face. The Kraltor thought fighting humans would be easy. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The morning after the first invasion wave brought an unexpected calm. Smoke rose from damaged buildings in Seoul, but the city was far from defeated. Dr. Yoon Seo Kim sat in her makeshift laboratory, surrounded by fragments of alien technology she had managed to collect during the initial attack. Her fingers moved quickly across specialized scanning equipment. Each piece of alien hardware told a story, not of superior technology but of potential weakness. The Kraltor believed their systems were unbreakable. Dr. Kim knew better. "We can use their own technology against them," she muttered, connecting unusual circuits and running complex algorithms through her custom-built computer system. Across the city, military units were regrouping. Sergeant Hyunwoo Lee had gathered a special team of technicians and combat specialists. They weren't waiting to be attacked. They were preparing to strike back. The Kraltor mothership continued to hover above Earth, believing the planet was nearly conquered. Their sensors showed scattered human defenses, damaged infrastructure, and what appeared to be a defeated population. But beneath the surface, something entirely different was happening. In military research centers around the world, scientists and engineers were working at an impossible pace. They studied every piece of alien technology, every transmission, every moment of the previous day's attack. Where other civilizations might have collapsed, humans were adapting. Dr. Kim's breakthrough came unexpectedly. A small circuit fragment revealed a critical weakness in the Kraltor communication network. Their advanced technology relied on a complex but predictable communication protocol. One small exploit could create massive disruption. "We can break their entire communication system," she explained to Captain Jaehwa Park, who listened intently. "Not just interrupt, completely take over." The plan was audacious. Instead of fighting the Kraltor with traditional weapons, they would fight them with information. Every communication channel would become a potential weapon. Sergeant Lee's special operations team prepared for a mission that seemed impossible. They would need to get close to alien equipment, plant special devices, and create communication chaos. It was a suicide mission by any traditional military standard, but these were not traditional times. The Kraltor continued to believe their victory was certain. Their previous conquests had followed a simple pattern: initial attack, technological, superiority, quick surrender. Humans were proving to be something entirely different. As night fell, the first stages of the human counterattack began. Small teams infiltrated damaged alien landing zones. They carried devices designed by Dr. Kim's team, not weapons in the traditional sense, but complex electronic systems that could hack, disrupt, and ultimately control alien technology. Captain Park watched the initial reports come in. Each mission was a calculated risk. Each team knew the chances of survival were minimal, but they were fighting for something bigger than individual survival. They were fighting for their entire planet. The Kraltor communication networks began to experience strange disruptions. Messages became garbled. Coordinate systems shifted. What seemed like minor technical glitches were actually carefully planned attacks designed to create maximum confusion. In the mothership above Earth, alien commanders began to realize something was wrong. Their perfect invasion was becoming messy. Their supposedly inferior human targets were doing something they had never seen before. They were fighting back with intelligence, creativity, and an unpredictability that defied all known invasion protocols. Sergeant Lee's team completed their first mission. They had planted communication disruption devices in critical alien technology clusters. The devices were small, almost invisible, but capable of creating massive systemic failures. Dr. Kim continued her work, breaking down alien technology piece by piece. Each discovery was another weapon in humanity's growing arsenal. The Kraltor had come expecting an easy conquest. They were about to learn that humans were anything but an easy target. As the second day of invasion began, the balance of power was already shifting. The Kraltor thought they were hunting a weak civilization. Instead, they had awakened a species with an unbreakable spirit of resistance. The Kraltor command ship grew quiet as strange transmissions began flooding their communication networks. What started as minor interference quickly became a psychological storm that no alien commander had ever experienced. Sergeant Hyun-Woo Lee watched the first stage of psychological warfare unfold. His team had prepared something beyond traditional military strategy. They weren't just fighting with weapons. They were fighting with information, perception, and pure human unpredictability. The alien communication systems began receiving bizarre transmissions. Sometimes they were complex mathematical sequences that made no logical sense. Other times they were audio recordings of human music, industrial sounds, and random conversations. Each transmission was designed to create maximum confusion. Dr. Yoon Seo Kim had discovered a critical weakness in the Kraltor psychological framework. Their entire military structure was built on predictable logic. Humans were anything but predictable. Captain Jae-hwa Park reviewed the initial reports. The alien fleet was beginning to show signs of internal stress. Their perfect geometric formations were breaking down. Communication between ship sections became increasingly fragmented. The human strategy was simple but brilliant. Instead of fighting a traditional war, they were attacking the alien psychological infrastructure. Every transmission was a weapon. Every sound was a potential psychological trigger. On the Kraltor mothership, senior commanders began arguing. Their data streams showed impossible scenarios. Human resistance units appeared and disappeared like ghosts. Military formations that should have been easy targets became complex, shifting networks that defied standard invasion protocols. Sergeant Lee's special operations teams moved like shadows. They planted communication devices in strategic locations, creating false signals and phantom military units. To the alien sensors, it looked like humans could be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The psychological pressure began to show. Kraltor communication channels started experiencing what could only be described as collective anxiety. Their perfectly designed military machine was experiencing something it had never encountered: total uncertainty. Dr. Kim's research revealed that the Kraltor had a hierarchical communication system based on absolute trust and predictable information flow. By introducing random, meaningless, but mathematically complex transmissions, they were essentially creating a virus in the alien communication network. "We're not just fighting," Dr. Kim explained to Captain Park. "We're making them question everything they know about warfare." The human transmissions became increasingly complex. Sometimes they would send perfect replicas of Kraltor communication protocols, but with subtle changes that would create massive internal confusion. Other times they would broadcast human cultural content, music, conversations, random sounds that made no strategic sense. Sergeant Lee's team began implementing more direct psychological tactics. They would occasionally broadcast clear, direct messages in the Kraltor language, messages that suggested internal betrayal, questioned military leadership, and created doubt. The alien fleet's behavior began to change. Their attack patterns became hesitant. Ships that once moved with perfect synchronization now showed signs of internal disagreement. The mathematical precision of their initial invasion was breaking down. Captain Park understood the strategy perfectly. They weren't trying to destroy the Kraltor fleet. They were trying to make them destroy themselves. Every transmission was a psychological weapon designed to create doubt, fear, and internal conflict. On the third day of invasion, the Kraltor command structure began to fracture. Senior commanders started questioning each other. Communication became a maze of suspicion and uncertainty. The perfect military machine was experiencing something it had never anticipated: human creativity. Dr. Kim continued monitoring and analyzing every transmission. Each piece of data was another opportunity to understand and exploit the alien psychological weakness. The Kraltor had invaded expecting a simple conquest. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that refused to follow any known rules of warfare. As night fell, the alien fleet hung in orbit, no longer looking like a conquering force, but like a confused and increasingly paranoid group of ships. They had come to Earth believing humans were a simple target. Now they were beginning to understand that they had made a terrible mistake. The research facility looked more like a battlefield than a laboratory. Broken alien technology covered every surface, with Dr. Yoon Seo Kim moving between workstations, like a general planning a crucial campaign. "We can turn their technology against them," she muttered, connecting strange alien circuits with human computer systems. What seemed impossible just days ago was now becoming reality. Captain Jaehwa Park watched the transformation happening across global research centers. Scientists and engineers were no longer just defending, they were preparing to attack. The alien invasion had become an unexpected opportunity for technological breakthrough. Sergeant Hyun Woo Lee's Special Operations Team brought in new alien equipment almost daily. Each piece was quickly dismantled, studied, and modified. The Kraltor believed their technology was unbreakable. Humans were about to prove them wrong. The first breakthrough came unexpectedly. Dr. Kim discovered a way to modify alien energy transmission systems. What was once a weapon could now be transformed into a defensive shield. The lines between defense and attack were blurring. Global communication networks that once seemed fragmented now worked with impossible coordination. Satellite systems, military communication channels, and research facilities around the world began sharing information at unprecedented speeds. The Kraltor mothership continued to hover above Earth, but something had changed. Their sensors were no longer receiving clear information. Human technology was evolving faster than the aliens could understand. Experimental weapon systems began emerging from research facilities. They weren't traditional weapons, they were hybrid technologies that combined human creativity with stolen alien design principles. Each device was unique, unpredictable, and designed to exploit alien technological weaknesses. Sergeant Lee's team tested the new technologies. Energy weapons that could adapt to alien shield frequencies, communication jammers that could create massive system confusion, defensive systems that could predict and counter alien attack patterns before they even happened. Dr. Kim worked without sleep. Her team had discovered that alien technology, for all its advanced appearance, had critical design vulnerabilities. They were building systems that could not just defend but actively counterattack in ways the Kraltor could never predict. The first large-scale test came unexpectedly. A group of alien attack drones approached a major city. Instead of traditional defense, they encountered something entirely new. The drones' own communication systems were turned against them, creating a cascading system failure. Captain Park watched the test results. What had started as a desperate defense was becoming a technological revolution. Humans were not just surviving, they were evolving faster than the invasion force could respond. Research facilities around the world worked in perfect sync. Each breakthrough was shared instantly. What one team discovered, another would immediately adapt and improve. The Kraltor had no understanding of this kind of collaborative innovation. Sergeant Lee's special operations teams became more than soldiers. They were now technology testers, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Each mission brought new data, new opportunities for technological advancement. The alien fleet began to notice the change. Their attack patterns became more hesitant. Sensors that once showed a clear path to victory now revealed something entirely unexpected, a human technological ecosystem that was changing by the minute. Dr. Kim's most significant breakthrough came during a late-night research session. She discovered a way to create adaptive technology that could learn and modify itself faster than any alien system. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a living technological organism. "We're not just defending," Dr. Kim explained to Captain Park. "We're creating an entirely new form of technological response." The Kraltor had invaded expecting a simple conquest. They had awakened a planet capable of transforming threat into opportunity. Each piece of alien technology became a lesson, each attack a chance to learn and improve. As the fourth day of invasion ended, the balance of power was shifting. The alien fleet that had once looked invincible now appeared uncertain. Human technology was no longer just defending, it was preparing to attack. The space near Jupiter became the ultimate battlefield. Humanity's modified fleet waited, a collection of ships that were no longer recognizable as traditional human technology. They looked like something between advanced machinery and living organisms. Captain HFY Park stood on the bridge of the lead ship, his eyes fixed on the approaching Kraltor mothership. They had come expecting a final decisive victory. Instead, they would find something completely unexpected. Dr. Yoon Seo Kim's adaptive technology hummed with energy. Every system was connected, every ship capable of instant communication and transformation. The Kraltor had no concept of the weapon they were about to face. Sergeant Hyun-woo Lee commanded the Special Operations Units. They were no longer just soldiers. They were technological warriors who understood that this battle was about more than simple victory. It was about proving humanity's true potential. The first wave of Kraltor attack came with their usual precision. Energy weapons that had destroyed countless civilizations erupted towards the human fleet. But something was different this time. The human ships didn't just defend, they adapted. Each alien weapon strike was immediately analyzed, understood, and countered. Defensive shields shifted and changed, absorbing and redirecting energy in ways the Kraltor had never seen. What should have been a devastating attack became nothing more than a data point for human technological systems. "They're learning," Dr. Kim said, watching the battle unfold. Her adaptive systems were processing information faster than any computer in human history. Each moment of conflict became an opportunity for improvement. The Kraltor commanders watched in growing horror. Their perfect invasion strategy was falling apart. The human fleet moved like a living organism, each ship connected, each movement part of a larger, more complex system. Sergeant Lee's special operations teams launched their final strategy. Small attack units penetrated the alien mothership's defenses, planting advanced technological devices that would completely disrupt their systems from within. Captain Park understood the battle was about more than winning. It was about showing the universe what humanity could become. Each moment of the conflict was a demonstration of human adaptability, creativity, and unexpected potential. The Kraltor mothership began to experience total system failure. Their communication networks collapsed. Defensive systems turned against themselves. The perfect technological machine was being dismantled by an enemy they had completely underestimated. Dr. Kim's adaptive technology reached its peak performance. The human fleet wasn't just fighting, they were evolving in real time. Each second of conflict made them stronger, more capable, more dangerous. Sergeant Lee's teams moved like ghosts through the alien ship. They weren't just destroying, they were learning, collecting information, understanding the alien technology at a level no one had thought possible. The final moments of the battle were almost beautiful in their complexity. Human ships moved with a grace that defied traditional understanding of space combat. They were part machine, part living system, completely unpredictable. The Kraltor mothership began to break apart, not from traditional weapon damage, but from a complete systemic collapse. Their technology, which had seemed invincible, was being turned against itself. Captain Park watched the final moments of the battle. This was more than a victory. This was a statement about humanity's potential. They had taken an impossible situation and transformed it into an opportunity for growth and understanding. Dr. Kim's systems continued to process the massive amount of data. Each moment of the conflict was being recorded, analyzed, understood. The technological leap was beyond anything in human history. As the Kraltor mothership finally collapsed, something unexpected happened. The human fleet didn't celebrate. They studied. They learned. They prepared for whatever might come next. Sergeant Lee looked out at the remaining alien technology. This wasn't an end. This was a beginning. The universe had discovered something new. Humanity was not just a species to be conquered. They were a force of adaptation, creativity, and unexpected potential.